Wi-Fi Sheep would like to say a huge thank you to all of you that kindly support us. Help us continue to bring new videos like this. Join patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep from just $1 a month. Hello, Happy New Year and a warm welcome back to youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep with me, Tom. Now, as a relatively small channel, I don't normally get many donations. However, during 2022 and especially over Christmas and New Year, I had a flood of things offered and sent in. So I now have enough to make a whole video looking through some of the items I've received. I just want to say a huge thank you to all that have so kindly sent me items, and I do intend to getting around to looking at all in more detail at some point in future videos. This video is sponsored by PCBWay.com, offering services such as 3D printing, injection moulding, CNC machine tooling, sheet metal fabrication, and of course turnkey PCB manufacturing. Take a look at PCBWay.com/projects and all the amazing things people are creating with PCBWay's wide range of production tools and services. Sign up for your free account today at PCBWay.com. Details and links are in the description. So we've got quite a bit to get through, and the first one I'm going to start off with is this. Now, this was given to me by Richard, who is a colleague at the Salop Amateur Radio Society. That's the radio club, my local radio club. And this was off the back of me showing my Tiny Basic computer systems. If you've seen the presentation, I've done the latest version of Tiny Basic computers. I've talked about the fact I won a small award at the club during a sort of late last year. There was a little competition, and one of my Tiny Basic systems run, and Richard said he had this, which, there we are. Let me get that out carefully. This, which is an Intel microcontroller. It's Intel copyright 1980, and I can just try and read what it says. It's P8052AH-Basic version 1.1, and it's an L1110587. What this basically is, it's an Intel microcontroller. So it's kind of like the Atmega 328P type things that we've been using more recently, but it's vintage Intel, and it has a version of Tiny Basic on the chip, as well as some sort of, I don't want to say x86 architecture because that's not correct, but it's some kind of Intel microcontroller architecture. And apparently it works, and it's just this one chip. It used to be part of a larger dev board system. So it'd be very interesting to see if we can get that working and talking via UART. I think it does actually have some pins via UART, and we probably need to run a clock, and it might need some RAM. I'm not sure if the RAM's on board, if it needs separate RAM. So that will be a little project to see if we can get a vintage microcontroller with a vintage version of Tiny Basic up and running. So huge thank you to Richard for that. Okay, and moving on, this is from EDC Dad Stuff, courtesy of Instagram. So this is someone who follows me and I follow them on Instagram, and they posted they're doing a project. I think this is what it should be. Yes, it is. I was making a custom ESP32 Development PCB, and that's what this is. And I said it looked really cool, and very kindly offered to send me one, which he's done. This, by the way, was sent first class, right? And because of all the postal strikes, especially over Christmas, it's taken 4 weeks, first class, to get a little bit across the country. Not a big country. It's like, come on. Anyway, really appreciative. And what's really nice, you sent me a 3D printed mount. Look at that. Right, this is precision. Yeah. PCB. Look at that. That fits absolutely perfectly into the mount. That's amazing. And and you've sent me some pin header. Can I get that out? Yep, that's everything. Oh, you sent me coloured pin header. Oh, that is so awesome. Thank you so much. That is really, really kind of you. So that's EDC Dad Stuff on Instagram. I will put a link to him. So if you're on Instagram, do go and check that out, and do go and follow and say hi. Thank you so much once again. This is going to be very useful. I do have a project planned for ESP32. So having a dev board, especially a small dev board that we can mount into something, which you can with this, especially it's got the 3D print piece. That's awesome. So thank you so much. Another letter. This one, again, first class. This actually arrived within 2-3 days. Now this, I believe, has come from, I want to say the Scottish borders. It's, I think, South Scotland. It's come all the way down from Scotland to the Welsh Marches, the English side of the Welsh Marches here in central England. So a little bit of a travel. Got here in good time. This is from YouTuber Gertmon, or Davy, as he's known on Instagram, and got in touch with me via Instagram and said, would I like what he's got in here? So let's just have a quick look. Oh, there's a note. And it's some more PCBs. And these, if I'm right... Oh, and it's two. He sent me two. Ah, yes, right. Now, these are PCBs for a replica Kim 1, known as the Kim Uno. So it's Uno Arduino microcontroller powered. It's a replica of an open source project which is online to create the Kim, or a reproduction of the Kim 1, which was one of the very first, if not the first, 6502 based kit home computer that you could actually get hold of in the mid 1970s. This was just when MOS was acquired by Commodore, so some of the later variants were actually branded as Commodore. So it's the kind of forerunner of the PET, and then obviously the VIC-20 and Commodore 64. So important machine, and it's really, really cool to have a project boards to actually build a replica. It fits in perfectly with what we've been doing with Tiny Basic computers. Let's just have a quick look. There's a note here, and I don't think the address is visible. I have gone and made sure I didn't dox anybody or myself by accident. So yeah, lots of blue tape everywhere. So, hi Tom, I've enclosed a couple of the Kim Uno PCBs, which I hope you can put to good use. It looks an interesting little board. Keep up the good work, and I'll be interested to know how you get on with it. Davy, or Davy. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. That's really, really kind of you. Send me two as well. Yeah, it looks fascinating. I really actually look forward to doing this. I think actually I've probably got, I might actually have most of the parts already to actually build one. So that would make a fascinating video. In fact, I think there's a mini series, especially if we get a Kim 1 running. That would be awesome. So thank you again so much. Now that's Gertmon over on YouTube. A great little channel, actually. I will put a link in the description so you can go and say hello to Gertmon and pass on my regards. Thank you once again. Really appreciate it. Next, I've had this one a little while. There's a bag of bits and something that looks suspiciously like an NES controller. This is coming from OBGs. Who runs the RetroPad eBay channel, and this was given to me at the last Cambridge Retro Computer Festival. He came in person to give this to me. Normally you buy these as pre-built, ready to go projects. He didn't have one compatible with the BBC Micro, so he sent me, or gave me one. It's in kit form. So we've got the main NES style controller, and in here we've got two. Is two PCBs the same? Let's have a look. Yes, and labelled up as BBC. So this is compatible with the BBC Micro. There's the plug ends. I just need a cable, and there is a port for the BBC Micro, which is a little bit different to the standard Atari type ports that both the Commodore, Ataris, and I actually think did the Segas use it as well? I think they did, and a couple of others did as well. So the BBC Micro is a little bit different, but this, if I get this built, should make a workable. It's basically joystick compatible, but it's a gamepad, and that might make a lot of the BBC Micro games a little bit easier to play. So really look forward to putting that together, and we'll do that in a future video. Again, I will now drop the link to the eBay shop if you want to buy these pre-built. The link you'll find in the video. And again, once again, huge thank you to RetroPad. That's OJB's or James for giving me that. That's really appreciative, and we'll get on with that as soon as possible. Next, this is a commercial presentation piece. So it's been sent to me by the people at bananapie.org to do a review video, which is going to be coming up very shortly. They contacted me and said, we'd like you to, show one of our products on the channel. And as you know, we do quite a lot of alternative Pi-based products. We're looking for good alternatives to Raspberry Pis, considering you can't get hold of them at the moment. And they said, what would you like? And I said, well, something in your Pi Zero range would be good. And they sent me this. So I'll quickly show you, but we're going to do a full unboxing on this. This is the Banana Pi. It's the P20. And it's an expanded version of a Raspberry Pi Zero Pi Zero form factor. So it has a few extra features, and it has 4 things like networking port, 4-pin header, TTL logic, that kind of thing. And it has onboard eMMC flash memory, so technically doesn't need an SD card to boot. I'm going to go into more detail. I'm going to do a whole review video on this, so I won't go into much detail now. But just to say thanks to Banana Pi, and yeah, we'll be looking at this real soon. Right, next up, let me show you this. Now, this came in all the way from Australia, and it is a related project to our Tiny Basic computers. This is AlphaBasic from AlphaWorks. This is the kit board, the Alpha System 1, by Scott Julian from alphaworks.com.au. As I said, this is very much the related sort of custom cousin/sister project to Tiny Basic. A lot of the work Scott has done with the kernel has ended up in the source code for the Wi-Fi sheet Tiny Basic, and we did a board swap. We did this last year, and Scott sent me all the way from Australia. This is the version 1 kit board for his actual product. The difference is his is a retail for sale product, mine is not, as you know. So, but he also has this fantastic manual explaining how Tiny Basic, bring it into camera to show you how Tiny Basic actually works. It's really, really good actually in giving demonstrations and even screenshots of how his system actually operates and works. And yeah, he did a lot of very, very good work there actually, including sample programs. So it is my intention to actually build one of his systems as is, because it's useful to have for my own development for Tiny Basic, to have it's not a rival system, it's, as I said, it's a kind of sister system, and that's something I do intend to get on to do. So again, thank you to Scott for sending me this. I sent him some Tiny Basic PCBs the other way, so it was more of a board swap, but again, greatly appreciative. I've had this for a little while, and it's great to actually finally show it properly here on the channel. So up next, I've got these, which are so big that's not going to fit entirely in camera frame. These are some kind of late 1980s school, what they call turtle robots. And they were designed, I think, for young children to learn basics of programming. And these were little sort of turtle type, I say little, that's quite big, turtle type robots that sort of scouted around on the ground. I've been trying to find some information on these. Now, these were given to me by Jack from what was formerly the Raspberry Pi Jam in Stafford. And apparently there was a whole bunch of these going for scrap out of the school. So these have been used in education at some point. And he said, did I want them? And I say them because I've not only one, but I have 2. And you said they're all pitted and marked, which is to be expected. So I think these things are probably 1989. So how old's that? Easily 30 plus years old. This one is heavy. I think it's still got the batteries in actually. This one is much lighter. Just take that out of the way. So yeah, this one I think it's still got the batteries in. Just have a look. Oh, I can see there, slightly out of focus, there's an on-off switch. If I turn it on, there is some life in it, amazingly. And that's obviously the last, it's either not working properly or that's the last program in it. It's just to go round in a circle, but it still works, which is astonishing. So interestingly, there's this DIN connector. So there was an ability to plug these into a computer. Now I don't think this particular version was BBC Micro compatible. I think that's some sort of PC interface, Windows 3.1 or something like that. So if you know what these are and have the software and information, I would be really, really appreciative actually, because I'm sort of trying to guess here what they are at the moment. Quick look on the underside. It actually has a speaker built in, and you've got the wheels, and I'll just turn it around so you can see the little sort of, it's not really a caster, it's a solid sort of, it's a little sort of solid ball that it kind of, it scrapes along the ground on. It's not a, it doesn't rotate or anything. And obviously you've got two wheels with some rubber traction tyres which haven't perished. So yeah, it's a hefty thing. It's got a bit of weight to it. It says here, warning, Roma batteries should be handled with care and fitted only by adults. Yes, I think these were known as Romas. That's right, that was the brand for these things. Oh, adults then. So, oh well, that's ourselves. Let's just dig out a screwdriver and see. Let's have a look inside. Oh my goodness me. Right, so old school 6-volt batteries. Let's mix the brands, why not? God knows how old those are. They haven't leaked though, from the looks of it. And interestingly, I've just noticed there is some sort of interface socket. There's a pin socket of some variety. Almost looks like a BBC Micro user port interface there, which is interesting. I wonder if this is actually compatible. I don't know. That's very interesting. That does look like a BBC Micro user port type plug. Okay. So yeah, that's why it's so heavy. These two mixed 6-volt power cells. These are all sort of bicycle lamp things from the 50s, 60s type power packs. And you might notice there's this hole that goes all the way through, and it's in the top of the unit as well. If we just turn it back over, and basically I think you could actually get one of the old style Corolla felt tip pens, and you could take the top off the pen, drop the pen through the hole, and the unit could then ride around drawing shapes on, you know, all over your carpet. We could try it with a Sharpie, couldn't we? Have I got a Sharpie marker? Yeah, so you could take your permanent marker pen, drop it down the hole, and that drops right through the, I don't know if it will go with a lid. No. But you could drop your marker pen sort of down the hole, and then you could actually draw shapes. So, and it would, the nib of the pen would kind of, you know, appear like that. So it'd be quite interesting to see if we can get both of these running, see what state they're in, and I just think it'd be kind of cool, really. I need to find out some more information. So if you know anything about these, they're called Romas. 1989, I think. British built, British. I would say British made. I think they were made in China. Let's have a look on the plastic. Made in China. Valiant Technology Limited, London, England. And we've got a serial number. So yeah, I'll have to do some research. But thank you so much to Jack for donating these. Okay, finally, quite a big donation now. Now, this came in from Oliver, who is an old acquaintance from about 10 years ago. Again, connected to my radio club. I haven't seen him in 10 years. And randomly got in contact with me and wanted to donate some things. Now, at the time I said, are you sure? Because this stuff is worth quite a bit. But he was like, no, he absolutely wanted to donate it to me. So, 3 items. First up is this, which is a GPI Game Pi, sorry, case from Retro Flag. And it's compatible with Raspberry Pi 00W. And probably should have cleaned the screen a bit there, but basically it's a Game Boy and it has these cartridges on the back, and the Raspberry Pi Zeros are actually inside these cartridges, and it slots in the back and it takes some batteries. Now what's incredible, it's not just the case. Oliver's actually donated to me Pi boards, quite valuable Pi boards that you can't get hold of, so it's just like, wow, okay. So there we go, and there's the button, turn the button on at the top. This is Recal Box OS, or yeah, something. And we're loading in. So no Linux flashing kernel like you'd normally see. I'm going to have to turn that down because that music's going to cause a problem. But then you've got all sorts of things on emulation. Commodore, ColecoVision, Game Gear, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Television, Atari Lynx, MAME, Sega, Sega Master, Sega Genesis. Should we just have a look at, if I select Sega Genesis, and just look at all the titles that are on here, which he's put on, by the way. These aren't, I don't think these actually come stock with it. And I think there is some ports. Auric, Pokemon Mini of all things, PlayStation, Scum VM, Super Nintendo, Vectrex. There we are, ports. And we've got Doom. So we've got Wolfenstein, Quake, Doom. So let's just a quick check of Doom, see what that's like. So we launch with B. It's got sound. I'm gonna put it on. Yeah. That's really, really cool. That's the way I've come from. And then we can turn off at the top, I think. Okay, so that's that. Let's just have a quick look, see what else is in here. So we've got the manual on how the Pi Zero and interfacing works. There's a USB power lead of some description. Okay. So he also gave me this bag, which some sort of battery charger and another cartridge. It looks like it's actually got another Pi Zero in it. So, wow. Something for the port for the micro SD. Does that come out or something? Oh, yes, it does. Little rubber tag, and you see there's actually an SD card. So it's not only just the case, it's actually a full system he's given me, which is insanely generous. And pack of rechargeable batteries. 2 packs of rechargeable batteries, actually. Gosh, okay. Wow. So that's all just one item. So that on its own would have been really generous, but he didn't stop there. He also gave me this. Now this is a Raspberry Pi 3, and I've got to be honest with you, I'd never heard of this before. He donated it to me, and it's quite a big heavy box. I can get into this. And it's some kind of Raspberry Pi powered tablet computer, and it's quite heavy. And you see a wonderful reflection of the the lights in it, but it's not the thinnest thing in the world, as you can see. And apparently, he told me that this actually has a Raspberry Pi 4 in it. So he's giving me a Raspberry Pi 4 as well. Yeah, it's quite something. So let me just take a quick look what's in this box. So there's power supply and a screwdriver and a few extra screws and things. So I guess we could power up and have a quick look. I've not powered it up, so okay, so the power supply goes, you can see this, it goes in there. And that's power. So what do we do? Well, there's a button on the side here. Okay, it's all I've got. You can see that I've got a sort of flashing on the side, but nothing else happening. If it needs charging or something, I'm not really sure how this works. In all honesty, I've not really heard of them. What he did say to me was that if needs be, I could just pull the Pi out and maybe use the screen for something. And yeah, we'll see. I haven't fully decided what we're doing with that. I think it's meant to be some sort of touchscreen type Pi tablet. It's very, very heavy though. That's much heavier than an iPad and much, much bulkier and thicker. Yeah, your guess. I don't really know what's happening there, if anything. So anyway, there we go. That's something for a further investigation. And then finally, and I didn't even know about this one, he gave me this, which is a Chowi, Chowi mini PC, Intel x86, I think it's x86 64 mini PC. And here it is. I'll just show you the back of it. So 12 volts power, you've got VGA, HDMI, LAN, 2 USB 2, headphone audio. The front you've got USB Type C and you've got 2 USB 3s, power, micro SD, Intel Celeron chip. And it's not a Pi in a box or anything. It is a custom PC on a board, and it doesn't have a fan. It actually runs silently. Oliver had said to me that he'd taken the hard drive out, so there was no operating system, no Windows or anything. But it is able to boot stuff from micro SD card, so a Linux or maybe even a HeyQ or something is going to be possible. An x86 operating system should boot on one of these, and I really look forward to investigating this one further, as this could be really, really useful, as it's such a great light form factor. That's much lighter than the PiPad or RasPad thing we just looked at. And again, just insanely generous. I really do want to get this resurrected, and this will be, I think, a video in its own right, just to check it over and see if we can get something running. Again, as I said, hugely, hugely generous to give me all this stuff, and this stuff is worth some money, you know. So I do think many of this stuff, I do want to see if we can integrate it into the projects and the things I'm going to do here on the channel. So thank you once again to all that have contributed and being so kind in sending in items. Also, a huge thank you to all my patrons and channel members. And a warm welcome this month to Frederick Olsen, who joins us on Patreon. You can join to help and support me and this channel by joining as a YouTube channel member. Tiers and details are on screen now. or alternatively via Patreon at patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. And well, that's about it for now. If not done so already, please do consider liking and subscribing. Happy New Year, and as always, thank you for your company, and I do hope to see you real soon right here on the channel. Until next time, bye for now.